Enchanted Living community, and welcome back to our series about the blue zones and the way we can use Feng Shui to create our home as a blue zone. The blue zone being that area in the world, or those various areas in the world, where people tend to live long and vital lives. And so if you have been already diving into the blue zones, maybe you've watched the Netflix documentary, maybe you've been learning about this for many, many years. Maybe you've gotten one of the books from Dan Buettner, Blue Zone Challenges or Blue Zone Secrets for Living Longer, or one of the many other ones. You may have already been jumping into all of these activities that really help people live longer and more vibrant lives. In fact, a lot of the things that we've talked about this year in Enchanted Living are all components that weave into those magical 16 aspects that they've coordinated from the various blue zones that really they feel is what's making a difference. I even dressed like a blue zone today so I could deliver our information all in blue. And so today, in this lesson, we are talking about the whole aspect of having a positive outlook on everything. And I know that can be tough, right? Because life is filled with a lot of things that are not positive. And so it can be really easy when we feel like we're on that downhill slide and things are just not going our way at all in any way, to start getting kind of a negative aspect. And it happens to us all. But the key is we need to create those methods within our life, create the feng shui around us within our life, so that when we are having those downward spirals, there are lifelines, right? That we can grab a hold of those and work our way back up into a life that is filled with gratitude and hopefully also joy. So let's dive in. The three things we're going to talk about this lesson are, the first one is about unwinding, relaxing, and doing it on a regular basis. The second one is about your faith, what you are doing to connect with more than what is the physical. And the third is the importance of having a sense of purpose. So we're going to talk about each one of those and how you can integrate great feng shui into your home to support each one of those things. So the first one, unwinding regularly, relaxing, in not just on a once a year, 2-week vacation escape, but working hard and then relaxing in the same day, having that time to de-stress. And I know it's easy for me, okay, and I'm guessing easy for you, that relaxation sometimes turns into plopping down on the couch and turning on the TV and just sitting and watching a show, watching a story, watching even a comedian or a documentary. But I'm not interacting. And so here's the aspect of this de-stressing that I want you to see how you can incorporate it, or what you're already doing in your life. What do you do that is much more about engaging your physical body and perhaps engaging another being, that gives you time to relax and unwind from the other stuff that happened in the day? Now, in the blue zones, people would decompress by maybe going out in the evening and going dancing, going out and having a few drinks with friends. There was a lot of socializing that happened on a daily basis. And whether that socializing was with their family group and they had a big dinner and they would sit around laughing and playing cards afterwards, or taking a stroll down to the local pub and seeing their friends and connecting with them and chatting about the day. Those things allowed people to de-stress, and it was with other beings. So in your life, we don't necessarily live with our family. We don't necessarily live somewhere where we're going down to our local pub or club every day to hang out. So what are the other ways you can weave this into your life that de-stressing is not with your computer and it's not with your TV? And no offense, artificial intelligence beings, but with a live flesh and blood being, right? That's who we want to share our decompression time with. So let's talk about ways to integrate that and how you can set up the feng shui for it. So one way, of course, if you do live with family members that you want to spend time with, then start creating a ritual or a pattern or a habit that you do something other than watch TV. And maybe it's go for a walk in the evening. Maybe it's putting on some music and you have a little dance party, or you look for the latest TikTok dance moves. I don't know if TikTok's dance moves are even in anymore. But something that makes you laugh, takes you out of the normal day. In terms of dancing, there are so many online dance I guess apps, programs, however you want to think of it, that you could totally throw your own dance parties every night and be learning some new things and having fun and laughing. Now, let's say you don't have other people that you want to do that with in your home. That's fine. Then do you have a pet, right? Is it going to be time that you spend quality time with that other being, right? And maybe that is just sitting and petting them or grooming them or taking them on a walk or playing ball with them, or with a cat, laser tag, whatever it is, where you are engaging in something fun and silly and joyful with another being. Or let's say you don't have a pet right now. What other living beings are around? Well, let's look outside, nature therapy. How about plants and trees and flowers and shrubs? And even if you live somewhere where that's not around, maybe you bring in some indoor house plants. Maybe you're going to talk to your plant at the end of every day. Maybe you're going to play it some music, right? Interacting with this other being. If you have a place where you can go out in your backyard, just checking out the plants who live there, those beings, go out, talk to them. Maybe you feel like your yard is a home for nature spirits and fairies. Go talk to them. Okay, I know that there are times in the past where talking to all of these beings might have put you on the list for somebody to come in the white coats. However, I think the world is a different place today. And I will also say, who cares? Who cares if you're walking in your own backyard talking to the plants? But if it makes you feel uncomfortable to talk out loud, I'm pretty sure they feel the energy and the thought waves. It's not what we speak, it is how we direct our intention. And so you could totally have conversations with these beings that nobody else knows about. So those are all ways you could do it. Now, how do you set up the feng shui of your home to connect in that way, to set up the template to remind you to do that? Well, all of this is about connecting with others, right? And having that way that we're unwinding and working with others. And so in the Bagua, helpful people is that area. And so helpful people, if you're standing at your front door looking into your home, it's the front right-hand side in the northern hemisphere, front left-hand side if you reverse the Bagua in the southern hemisphere. And so looking in that area of helpful people, do you have representation of those beings that you want to relax with, that you want to kick back and have fun with, that are a part of that relaxation ritual? And so maybe if you're going to be out talking to the plants in your yard, maybe you have some pictures of plants. Maybe you have some pictures of your pets there. Maybe you have some pictures of your intimate friend group that you hang with and have this unwinding time with. You also might look at not just in that area of the Bagua, but have you set up your house in a way that allows you to do fun, relaxing things that isn't just connecting with the TV, right? I go into so many homes where the TV, like there's a couch, and directly across from the couch is the TV. And so even if there's multiple people in there and they're all sitting up in a little line and they're all just having conversation, they're just staring at the TV. Well, that's not about unwinding and connecting with each other. So that would be, let's make it a little more uncomfortable to watch the TV, and let's create a seating group that allows you to have conversation, that people will sit across from each other, or at least somewhat at an angle to the side, not just everybody facing the TV. So take a look at how you can create these conversation areas. Maybe even if dancing is going to be a part of it, maybe even move some furniture around so there's a dance floor. There's some room to move. Maybe it's not dancing. Maybe you're going to do some yoga, right? Whatever it is, make room for it. See what isn't so essential in your space, especially if you are maybe going to swap out a chair for the option of sitting on a cushion on the floor. Maybe there's some ways to carve out some of this space to give more room for an active relaxation than just plunking down on the couch. Other things that you might look for are, what else do you enjoy doing, right? If having a cup of tea in the morning or in the evening is a part of your unwinding ritual, then what are you doing to make that tea ritual special, right? Is it going to be a special teacup? Is it going to be a place where you sit that you really enjoy the view, right? Really think about how you can make it, take it even to the next level, even something that becomes even more relaxing for you. So find those places and make them special. The next one of these things about positive attitude is finding faith. And it's not about having one religion. And it's not like even specifically how you practice a religion, but it is about how you are integrating your spirituality into your everyday life. Now, a lot of people in this group pull a card for themselves every day as their way to get information from the divine. But how do you make it special, right? Are you doing it on the fly? Is it something that you really are giving gratitude for? So think about how you can create those rituals in your life that make your connection to the divine even more special. It's interesting. I think it's this month's Real Simple magazine, there's an article on developing rituals for yourself. And part of the science around it, and there is science around it, is they found that when people would do something that they felt was more of a ritual, that they ended up being more relaxed. Let me read you the exact quote on it. Okay. So they had two groups of people. One group of people, they gave them a ritual for making lemonade. And they told them that they had to pour half the packet of the lemonade mix in the glass, and then pour the water in, and then wait 30 seconds, and then pour the other half of the packet in, pour the other half of the water in, stir it, wait 30 seconds, and then taste the lemonade. And then they had to rank the lemonade on how it tasted. Then the other group watched somebody do that exact same process. And then they tasted the lemonade. So one group was very actively involved, and you might think that doesn't seem like a sacred ritual. Well, it is, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? But what it was very much their intention was directed and involved in that process, as opposed to the person who was sitting there may or may not have been paying that much attention to the person making the lemonade before they tasted it. What they found is that the people who did the ritual, that did it with intention, that was paying attention to what they were doing and stirring and all of that, found that lemonade tasted better to them than the people who were not involved. So that's one scientific experiment around this aspect of rituals. But what they find is that when people have rituals, whether they seem like a religious base or they just seem like a way of honoring being in this present moment, that it gives people a sense of power. It gives people a sense of reducing their anxiety. And so you can look at, how do I introduce ritual into things that might already be habits, right? So you might have the habit of getting yourself a cup of coffee in the morning. And it might be, you just go in, you pour the coffee and you start drinking it, right? You can turn it into a ritual by maybe choosing the mug. And maybe you choose the mug based on the color you need today, right? And that as you pour the coffee in, you think about how that coffee grew in another land, and this is the bean and the seed that came from that plant that grew in another land and in the sun and in the rain, and that you are taking all of that in. If you add other accoutrements to your coffee, even thinking about where they came from and giving thanks and gratitude to all of that, and then maybe holding that mug up, maybe breathing in that aroma and noticing how it smells, maybe noticing how the mug feels, the warmth of it in your hands, and then even looking at it, looking at the color and the richness, right, of whatever you've concocted, and then finally tasting it, so that in each step of that, you're giving gratitude, but you're also being very present in the moment, as opposed to just slurping down some coffee. So those are a way to build a ritual into your day. And that ritual brings you into the present moment. And that ritual of being in the present moment can connect to your faith and your spirituality. Because if in that present moment, you also find the ability to be grateful for the coffee, to be grateful for the mug, to be grateful for watching the sun come up as it's coming up, right? Being in that present moment gives you those opportunities to connect to your spirituality. Maybe it's for you, maybe your spirituality involves prayer. Then making sure you do that prayer not out of rote. I grew up Catholic, and I will tell you that prayers were not heartfelt. They were words that we learned, that you spewed out very much by rote. There was nothing, maybe I'm just talking for myself, but it seemed like pretty much everyone in catechism was doing the same thing. It wasn't like a very heartfelt, "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name," right? We were just saying the words, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name," right? There was not a meaning behind it. I'm waiting for the lightning to strike me, but the lightning's not going to strike me, because now I know there's nothing wrong with written prayers if you do them heartfelt. There's also nothing wrong with praying or talking to the divine in your own words that are heartfelt, and also with a dose of gratitude for everything that already is. So having that time, working with that time, connecting to your spirituality in it every day, whether it means you're going to church every day, or you're doing your own ceremony at home, or you're taking those very intentional ritualistic moments throughout your day. All of that is really important, actually, as a part of creating this healthy and vibrant life. And then the third thing is developing or having a sense of purpose. And It's your reason for waking up in the morning. It's your reason to keep on going. And if you don't have the reason, then what happens is even those who are in pretty great health start to decline. There's horrific statistics around people who retire and how quickly after they retire, they die. Is it because they worked themselves to death for all of those years? Maybe because they weren't taking time for all of these other integral steps. And it also could be because so much of their sense of purpose, so much of what their reason to get up in the morning was that job. And when they don't have that job anymore, they didn't develop another sense of purpose. They didn't create another reason why they were getting up in the morning all along. It wasn't around their faith or their volunteering or their community or their garden or their pet. They didn't have those other things. And so there was this loss of identity, this loss of having a purpose for their day. In the blue zones, people don't tend to retire from a job so much. They tend to keep doing what they were doing. Or if they do have a job they retire from, they also had a very full, I'll call it schedule, calendar, commitments, things they were doing on a volunteer basis, a hobby they loved, other things they were passionate about, that releasing the paying job meant they could dive fully into this other purpose. So if you're feeling like you don't know what your purpose is, you don't know what your reason is to get up in the morning, I'm going to say it's time to find one, right? And if you're feeling like you're unsure, then please hop into the Facebook group and share, right? Because there's loads of people there who are willing to help you sort that out. One of the things I do as a soul coaching practitioner is we do help people hear what their soul's mission might be. And there's a lot of different ways that we can find that out. What I would say is that if you're really feeling stuck, you really don't know what it is, Denise Linn's book, Soul Coaching, 28 Days to Finding Your Soul's Truth, might be a book to grab that would give you some help in uncovering what your mission statement is. So you don't just have one mission statement, though. Look, there's two. Don't just have one. We're here for a lot of different purposes. Like, for example, one of my purposes right now is dog mummy, right? I wake up in the morning and one of my purposes is dog mummy. One of my purposes is helping people with the energy in their homes, right? One of my purposes is to be a good daughter to my mom. Now, all of these won't last forever, but they are purposes that I have right now. And so what I'm saying is, even though you might have had a purpose that was a main purpose in the past, if you feel like that one is ending, it's time to find that new one, right? And there should be a lot of things that are about your purpose of what you're doing, why you're here, and what you give back in the world. It doesn't mean that you have to be famous, right? That's not about, well, maybe your purpose is to be famous, and that's cool. But it doesn't have to be about being famous at all. It is about, what difference do I make today? And some days the difference might not be huge to anybody else, but it might be huge to that spider you rescued, or the bumblebee that you put back outside, or it could be small little things like that, but you made a difference. So thinking about, how do you represent this sense of purpose in your home? Well, that sense of purpose, that mission statement, is what we call the career or mission statement area of your home, which is front and center, right? The front center part of your home is about how you represent your mission statement, what you are doing here. And so take a look at the feng shui in that area and see if it truly represents why you get up in the morning, what it is that you're here to do. Maybe it represents things that you did in the past. Maybe it doesn't represent that kind of thing at all. But shifting it and changing it now will support you in embracing that mission statement, as well as reminding you, yeah, this is why I get up every day. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm doing. All right, that's it for this week. And please let me know what you find to shift and change in your life, in your home, to support you living a longer and more vibrant life. See you soon. Bye-bye.